Here we go. We are back heading into Super Bowl Sunday here. Dom, how we feeling?
Honestly, I don't even know how to answer that question anymore.
That's fair.
I feel like sports for me don't really exist at this point in my life, and I'm just inevitably floating down a river. As for my girlfriend, she's super pumped for this weekend, so
Oh, that's true.
I'm glad one of
Eh,
us is.
I'm only happy because I got the day off of work.
Oh, you got the day off? Oh yeah,
Yep.
because the entire city's probably closed.
Shutting down, basically. We're
Yeah.
not a sports bar, so we're closing.
Hey man, nothing wrong with
So I'm
that.
not mad
So
about that. Thank you for that. Outside of that, I
yeah,
hope everybody
D-
loses.
just day drink to deal with the pain. That's really all we can do.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, I think pitchers and catchers report in like a week.
I'm sorry. That's supposed to make me feel better.
And we're 50 days away from opening day.
How is that gonna make me feel better?
I don't know. It's
I have
something.
the Pirates somehow have the worst owner in baseball. They don't do anything. They won't spend. We don't have a left fielder right now. The only positive is that they have good pitching. Okay, thanks.
I'll give you
Doesn't
Heston
matter when you can't
Kierstad
hit the ball.
for Paul Skeens.
I'd rather trip over a cliff and die.
I don't know. It's worth it.
Instead, it's my only positive in this life right now. That and Bubba Chandler is going to be coming. That's all I got for you.
Well, I was just trying to find something there for you.
I take your stat if you really want to give me him.
I don't know. What about what's his name? Johnson
Johnson, who's Johnson?
or not Johnson?
Kamar,
No, I'm completely blanking on your number two starter,
Jared Jones. No, I'd also
Jones.
I
Jesus Christ, I
smaller
completely
cliff,
blank.
smaller cliff.
Just rather rip up your knee.
No, I still want to die, but smaller
Oh, fair
cliff.
enough. Gotcha. All right. Well, never know. I mean, have fun
Yeah,
putting up 2.5 runs a game with that roster.
it's yeah, dude, it's gonna be painful. It's gonna be so painful. I mean, I sent that to you earlier. The Pirates haven't had a 40 home run hitter since Willie Stargell in 1977. Everybody else has done it this century. So for what it's worth, and also somehow they couldn't get a 40 home runs with Barry Bonds in the 90s. So
Well, that was before he
crazy.
started putting needles in his ass.
Also true. All right, where are we going?
All right, so let's get into just the big news of the week, of this past week. We haven't been doing too much of this, even though, we both enjoy it and everything. But now that it's trade deadline season, Luka to the Lakers. Let's just jump on that.
Yeah,
What?
yeah,
The trade heard around the
it's
world.
shocking. I got back from drinking. I was just getting ready for bed. I was at my girlfriend's. I just happened to check my phone for 2 seconds. Just moved it from one area to another. I opened it up and I said, "Hello, this isn't real." And I sent it to you. I texted our buddy Nick, and I was like, "What is this?" And nobody bought it for
Yep.
12 hours
I
until
I was gonna say
I
I
don't even.
saw it. I went to the bathroom at work because I didn't see it, and I saw you sent it to me, and then I just stood there for an extra like 5 minutes, just like
It
rereading
doesn't.
it, like waiting for my eyes to adjust to something, and then went to Sham's account, and it was like so everybody's like, oh well, he got hacked, and then it was like, no,
And
this is real, and it's just like, okay, well,
yeah,
back to back tweets doesn't really mean you're not
mean
hacked,
anything. Yeah,
so like
I can
what?
double down if I'm fake.
And then I went back to just my Twitter timeline there, and then ESPN had tweeted it out too, and I was just like, "Oh, so like this actually happened,
Yeah,
and what the hell is going on?" Makes zero
exactly.
sense that like
Zero
this
fucking
move.
sense to it.
Now, the more and more that has come out, it starts to make sense that it happened.
So why do you think it happened? Because what I've read and what has happened since kind of makes even more sense as to why.
I think I know where you're going to go with it. I think dealing with incompetent ownership as an Orioles fan, at least, like it does make sense. You go, oh, well, we're worried about his conditioning and giving him the supermax and everything like that. Like with the new ownership, that like I buy that they were actually like talking about that. Like I that makes sense to me. If Mark Cuban still owns his team, this trade
He
does
would
not happen.
no, never does.
Zero
Mark Cuban
chance.
is partial owner. And Mark, if you happen to listen to the pod, man, please buy the
What were
Pirates.
you doing? Yeah, well, that
Please buy
too.
the
He
Pirates.
should. Yeah, come back to Pittsburgh for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think if he was still a majority owner,
It never would
that
happen. I
deal
mean,
never
he
happens.
tweeted like 2 years ago, if you gave me the option to trade Luka or divorce my wife, I'm not writing those papers fast enough.
Yeah, exactly.
So
No, insane. So I do understand that, and it's you got new ownership that has said that they're not the biggest basketball fans. They're
yeah,
just trying to cash in more than anything. So like,
yeah, and I guess I'll jump in there on that point.
yeah,
I did a little searching and got lucky on some threads on Twitter. There is speculation that the new ownership came in wanting to put the Mavericks in a casino in Texas. Biggest issue is the gambling restrictions in Texas is very, very tight. They are forcing the hand of the state of Texas,
yeah, they're
essentially,
trying to get
and the
into bed
city.
because they got big donors, political donors.
They got a lot of money invested into their idea, not into the team themselves necessarily, but their idea is to make the team more profitable in a different way. So essentially, trading Luka is the first step to that because you just went to the finals last year. Your team's high. It's a fun, exciting time. So you go from that to you're still a good organization. You're still one of the better teams in the West,
Let's
competing
just call it
day
what
in,
it
day
is.
out.
You go from being in the finals to 8 months later trading away your 25 year
Well,
old
yeah, and I was
superstar
getting to that. Yeah,
top three player in the league. Like we don't
it's a
have to
head
dance
scratcher.
around it. Like
It's a
generational offensive
player.
player. Yeah.
So with that in mind, trading him away makes you fall a little bit. You're still going to be competitive with Clay, with
With
AD,
that
with
roster,
Kyrie.
yeah, we'll get into the basketball fit
Just
then too.
briefly, it'll be competitive briefly, but thinking about it 3 years down the road, you're not. They're trading away draft picks. They're trading away other things that
Well,
aren't
I mean,
going to help make this team better. Like
and
you
that's
saw
what
that trade
Nico
they made
said.
yesterday with the Sixers.
Yeah,
It's
that made no
they won.
sense either. They're just tearing it all
Well,
down.
exactly. Their goal is to tank the team, make them as bad as possible, to either A, force Texas into allowing the gambling aspect for them to build a new arena to put the Mavs in, or make them so bad that they can relocate them to Vegas where they want to
Well,
be.
that's what it was. Is like if they can make them bad enough where they can threaten to move to Vegas
Yeah,
and then
that's
use
it's
that as leverage to force the state of Texas's
yeah
hand at that point is
because
kind of
they don't yeah they don't
the
want
conspiracy behind it.
yeah they want the fans to not be invested anymore, to
Mm-hmm.
basically be gone and forgotten. And it's a great start with what they've done. Wait until midseason, get rid of your best player, get rid of a supporting cast, and send a pick away with him.
Yeah,
And then next year, free agency, you're just going to sign a bunch of 1 year guys over and over and over again.
right.
Because
Yeah,
all
no,
you care
it's
about is the minimal success.
yeah, just an absolutely insane move and just so fucking stupid. Like, I mean, you got one of the
It is.
biggest markets in the country. Like, you can cash in on that. It's just like, why you gotta? I don't know. Whatever.
It's because they don't.
I'm all for legalized gambling, obviously, but like,
Yeah. I'm also for a good sports team staying good. It's fun. So I'll say this. I'm all for every competitive team being competitive. I'm all for smaller markets having bigger names. But also, though, sports are more fun when big markets are good.
yes,
So, like in baseball, when the Yankees are good and the Dodgers are good, it's more fun. I don't
yeah,
like either team, but it's more
right.
fun because those teams are competitive. You're going to get more revenue, whatnot, and that's in those
It
sports. Like
gets talked
MLB
about
loves
more.
that.
Everything feels bigger when you get the
So
big
like
markets.
that's like another thing with this. The NBA wanted to ensure that there was no lull with the Lakers once LeBron retires. LeBron retires in 2 years. Luka's 27, still young, and you're building around him now for the next 10, 15 years, or however long he can
And it's
play
going to
for.
make it that much easier for the Lakers to be relevant because
Exactly.
who's going to say no to going and playing with Luka?
Yeah.
It's like the free agents that they might have missed out on in years prior, like in between the Kobe LeBron years, like they're not missing out on them now.
No, God no. So it's just an insane kind of way to think about it.
And then I saw somebody put this up too. It's just like the run that the Lakers have now been on, will continue to be on, going back to the 60s. It was Jerry West and then Wilt Chamberlain
Yeah.
and then Kareem.
And
And
then
then you had
Magic.
Magic to that. And then you had a couple years like at the end of Magic's career, and then there was no Magic, and then you got Kobe Shaq, and then Kobe retires,
And then you have a
and then you
couple
have
years.
a couple years, and
And
then
now
LeBron comes. And now you're going from LeBron right into Luka. So you've had over the course of now, what, 60 years? 5 years? 5 to 8
where you're
years
not
where you don't
interesting.
have, well, not even that, but like don't have a clear cut top
Superstar.
five
Yeah.
player in the league.
And now you have two of them on the same team. If you
Yeah.
still think LeBron's a top 5 player in
And
the
if you want
league,
to extend it to top 10, like,
you definitely
you
have
could,
two top 10 players in the league.
yes.
That's not a debate.
Yeah. Like, it's
Just insane
unbelievable what they've been able to do. Now, in terms of the basketball fit, I do like it in the short term
for
for
Dallas.
Dallas. Oh, actually, we
Yeah, I
missed
mean,
wait, hold on. Sorry, before we do that, the most insane part about
yeah, this
the
is what I want
trade,
to talk about.
Danny Ainge.
What were you gonna say?
Danny Ainge.
Okay,
So it was a
you go.
three-team deal.
Okay.
The final trade was a
Mm.
three-team deal, and Utah was
Yeah, yeah.
involved. Danny
And they didn't
Ainge
know.
didn't even know that
It
Luka
was
was a part of
Luka
the deal.
until
That
30
trade was
minutes
that.
before it finalized.
I thought it wasn't until after
It was
it was
30 minutes
finalized.
before, and it was too
Uh,
late for him to do anything about it.
yeah,
Because with that situation, it's like, hey, we got a player. We'll send you picks to like just take on a contract. They're
yeah.
gonna just say, yeah, sure, whatever, and without asking details because you're privy to that. But what I was gonna bring up is that Dallas only wanted to talk to the Lakers. They didn't make Luka available, or else they
Well,
could have gotten the biggest trade
Palinka.
offers of all time.
Yeah, no, they only went there because they didn't want it to get out. And Nico Harrison and Palinka, they have a history together. They're buddies.
It's just
They're
insane.
buddies, so
And
that's why they
apparently,
ended up going that way because they
originally,
were because the Lakers were shopping AD anyway a little
yeah,
bit, and then they reached out about that, and then that's when this all kind of came together over the course of, I think, what did Sham say, like 5 days?
yeah, something like that. And originally, it was going to be multiple picks, and Dalton Connect was going to be a part of it.
Yeah, they could have
And
had
they
that,
took
and
and Dallas was like, no, we don't need all that. We're good.
yeah, just passed on it. Just
It just doesn't even make sense. It's
insane.
just
And
I
then the
can't fathom
wildly
it.
uncomfortable press conference
Yeah,
with in the comment Nico Harrison talked about, oh yeah, for the future. Well, when I say for the future, I mean like 3 or 4 years because they'll probably bury me and Jay Kidd out back, and like kind of laughed about it. And Jason Kidd just went,
yeah. Like talk about like he has no say in that, and that's so
just
unbelievable.
insane. Yeah, sorry, that was the last part I wanted to get out there because I forgot about that part with Danny Ainge. But anyway, in terms of basketball fit, not even really on paper, like what the Mavs can roll out as a starting five, at least for this year, next like 2,
Yeah,
maybe
it's
3
not
years.
bad.
It's really not bad. The only hole in it, because the supporting cast is fantastic there, honestly, like you go through it with PJ Washington, AD, hell, who did they start last night? So like once AD's healthy, who did they end up
Yeah,
starting last night? Let me look at that. Sorry, I'm blanking on names again.
no, you're good.
Oh yeah, Gafford, Thompson. Yeah, when they can run out at full health. So like next year, for
Yeah,
example, you get
next year they're
you
kind of
get
done this year.
yeah. Well, I'm just saying because of some of the
Yeah,
injuries right now, like injuries
yeah,
right now. Like you're going to be able to go Kyrie, PJ Washington, AD, and Derek Lively.
Yeah, but how many of those guys are still on contract for next
All of them,
year? All
as
of them?
far as I
Okay.
know.
I wasn't sure
Yeah,
if you
because
already
I'm
looked
pretty
that up.
sure PJ got an extension. AD's under contract. Clay signed a 3-year deal.
Okay.
I think it was
All right.
3 or 4 year deal. I think it was. But yeah, they're all under contract. So like that as a starting five is not bad. And then you have Gafford coming off the bench. Like there's a lot of good pieces there.
Yeah.
The only problem with it though is because if you look at that supporting cast outside of your point guard, Klay Thompson, spot up shooter, PJ Washington, good catch and shoot guy, AD, off ball and 2-man game, and then Derek Lively, same thing, 2-man game. Kyrie's not a distributor.
Yeah.
He's a
He
point
very
guard
much
that
is.
looks to score first, and he is honestly very good when he's playing off ball. That's what made him and Luka so good together. Was that like
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie
Luka's a
was
good free passer.
like obviously Kyrie's a fantastic one-on-one player, but like he's much better when he's feeding off of somebody else who's like controlling the game, and then Kyrie can just fill in the holes more than anything. Like that's not who he is. Like his career, yeah, he's 5.5 assists a game for his career
Yeah.
as a point guard.
Not
Like,
not great as a point guard.
no. And so that's like, yeah, they'll be competitive, but they're not competing with that
Yeah.
roster.
Not even close.
That's my issue with that. And then on the flip side, the Lakers, I mean, they're going to be wildly entertaining for the rest of this year.
Yeah. I'm curious to
But
see if they add again tomorrow. That'll kind
they're
of
going to have
determine.
to. I mean, I've heard they're rumored to for was it either Nick Claxton or Robert Williams because right now they have zero rim protection. They're objectively probably the worst defensive team in the
Yeah.
NBA right now
That
with
that
this
that was
move.
my first question. Like the second I like saw AD, I did the numbers and I was like, well, their front court's abysmal, but
Yeah,
screw it.
that's
Screw
the
it.
thing. It's just like as of right now, I mean, they could legitimately score 200 points in the game, but they also might give up
Yeah.
220.
Yeah. Nick Claxton though, that wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, so like I
Let's
expect
call
them
it.
to make one of those moves here in
Yeah.
the next what do we got here? 18 hours till the trade deadline.
Can I offer them a Mitchell Robinson? Would they be interested in one Mitchell Robinson,
Ew, gross. At
please?
least Nick
Yeah.
Claxton gives you something offensively. I think that should be
I,
target number one.
I'm do you want defense or do you want I don't know. I just don't want Mitchell Robinson on this team.
I'll take 95% of Mitchell Robinson's defense for 670% of his offense.
Fair enough. All right,
Like,
we're 20 minutes in and we haven't even touched on the
well,
things
I
we
mean,
wanted
to
to
be
yet.
fair, I mean, everybody was doing emergency podcasts after this trade,
It was
and they were all
insanity.
45 minutes long. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like us doing 20 minutes isn't even doing it justice here.
No. Well, the difference is we are not a basketball podcast.
Not necessarily, but,
No, not
we just
yet.
happened to start during football season. So that took up the majority of our time.
Okay. That's just what we enjoy the most.
That's true. Well, there's more basketball trades next.
There is. All right, we'll touch on these two real quick. Wemby
Yeah.
got his man, so
This was I
that's
was
a
so excited
positive.
about this. So excited.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
this pairing, De'Aaron Fox and Wemby. Wemby just needed a legitimate guard that
yeah.
can play with him
Not
and
Chris Paul.
not Chris Paul. I mean, I love that for him in the sense of like learning more than anything.
Yeah,
But I mean, De'Aaron Fox just takes it to the next level right now and
oh
for the
for sure,
next several years. Like
for
I was
sure.
so happy with this. I mean, the fastest guy in the NBA paired with the complete freak that Wemby is.
Oh yeah, that'll be huge.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun to watch once they start like actually develop some chemistry together. They're going to be so much fun to watch. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean that'll be a top four team in the West next year for sure.
I think so because they got a lot of young talent too, just like a lot of good like pieces that
Yeah,
just that play specific roles, kind of thing. Like they've done a really
yeah,
good job building that team because it's the
yeah,
Spurs.
yeah, and I'm sure they'll add somebody else in the offseason to kind of
Hmm.
join that.
Yeah, if they can get an upgrade at the wing position, they're really scary then.
Yeah, and I'm also happy in that trade that Zach LaVine finally got to leave Chicago.
Hmm. Very
So
true.
good for him.
Yeah.
Gets to go join DeRozan yet again.
Yep. There's great athletes more than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have a dunk contest at practice with those two, and it'd be better than the one they're going to do in a couple weeks here.
Well, the dunk contest isn't real anymore. That's for
Such a
sure.
joke. It peaked in, what was it,
Yeah.
2016? Was that the last one Levine won? That was the Levine Aaron Gordon one. I'm pretty sure it was
Dude,
2016.
maybe. I mean, I think it peaked when it was Aaron Gordon and Blake Griffin, and Aaron Gordon did that insane dunk.
That was Aaron Gordon and Zach Levine.
Which dunk are you talking about? Was it Zach LaVine? And he lost to LaVine off some bullshit?
Well, Aaron, they kept going back and forth on 50s and like overtime
Yeah, yeah,
of
okay,
that,
yeah.
and
And then
then Aaron Gordon did the double clutch. Like he
and
brought
they
it
gave him
up,
a
back down,
yeah.
and they gave him like a 48 for it or
Well,
49.
because at that point, like, I only brought so much to the table, and then Zach LaVine did another
Well, nobody. It
fucking
wasn't even that. Nobody caught it in the moment that that's what he did. It wasn't
and then
until the replay after they had already put their votes in.
yeah, and
Or
then LaVine did
yeah,
another free
windmill or
throw dunk.
no, yeah, it was
Yeah, it was like a
between the
windmill
legs.
from the free throw. He never did it in between the legs from the free throw, but it
One
was
of them
like
was between
windmill.
the legs.
It was the first one was between the legs, but the second one was a windmill, and they're like 50 points because it was from
I
the free
thought
throw
the
line.
windmill was the first one he did from the free throw line, and then he upped it to the between the legs
And
from the free throw.
it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
It was
they
insane.
should
But
have
anyway,
gave
that's
it
last
to
year.
should have been to Gordon after he did like that. He like sat on the ball and passed it in midair and
Oh
slammed
yeah,
it
when he
behind
goes
his
over the
like
mascot, like yeah, the
that
mascot
that
had it up,
that's
but he came
that's still
underneath.
the nastiest. No, no, yeah, that's still the nastiest dunk
Yeah,
I've ever seen in my life. So
yeah. No, I
whatever.
mean that whole dunk contest was insane because even I forget, I don't even remember the other two that were in it, but they had some.
But they weren't bad. Yeah.
No, they were good. They just happened to be dealing with Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine in that one.
And now it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so good. But yeah, so good for him on that. And then today we got
It was weird.
just
I
an
don't
odd
understand that
one.
very.
Yeah, Chris Middleton to
Yeah.
the Wizards, and the Bucks get Kyle Kuzma back. So it's just more forwards. Right now, you're going Giannis, power forward, Kuzma, power forward, Bobby Portis, power forward, Brook Lopez, center.
Yeah.
You just,
It's the opposite of small ball.
yeah. And like all kind of weird fits.
I guess you're running Kuz at the 3 or Kuz at the 2.
It probably Kuz at the 3 and what, Dame and
You're
who
not running
fucking
Giannis at
knows?
the 2.
No. I mean, it's a weird
And
fit.
you're definitely not running Bobby
Here,
Portis
let
at
me
the
tell you.
2.
I'll tell you who they started tonight.
God, yeah. Let's take a
Well,
look.
first of all, this is gross. Oh, well, Giannis is out tonight,
Okay, well, we can't
so
really
that
look
makes
at
more
it then.
sense.
All right, on when was that last game? Monday. Let's take a look.
Yeah, against the Thunder when they got housed.
Giannis still wasn't playing on Monday. Giannis, you better get back out there. They're gonna trade you.
I know. Okay, last time he started, it was Dame, Andre Jackson, Giannis, Tari and Prince, and Brook Lopez.
Jesus Christ.
I'm guessing Bobby Portis will probably still come off the bench. They don't use him to start much anyway, or haven't
Yeah,
since he's been there. He's been more of that like juice off the bench kind of thing, and see how it goes.
yeah. So then you're just running Kuz at the 3. That's all. That's all that really changes.
Yeah, I mean, still just feels like a weird fit though. With everything
I
else
think
going on.
they're just in a weird place right now
Yeah,
because like
which
those
is a
top
shame
three,
because they're wasting Giannis right now.
yeah, it's tough because like the top 3 teams in the East are like 3 of the best 5 teams in the NBA right now. So, and they're not one of them. It's just the unfortunate reality of that
Yeah, I mean the top of the East is kind of separated, and then
for sure.
in the West, it's really just OKC is separated
Yeah, Houston
from
was there for a
everybody
minute,
else.
but
Well, I
yeah,
mean, OKC has a 6-game cushion as the 1 seed right now, But Memphis
I
has
mean,
34 wins, the Rockets have 32, and Denver's got 31. So they got four teams,
yeah,
30 plus wins. Meanwhile, the East just has their top three.
three three teams, and it's
For
not
now,
even
until the
close
Knicks
after
just
that.
officially run out of gas.
No, dude, they're on a 6 game winning streak after Tibbs flipped the how he's running it. They're running a deeper
Good,
bench,
good. It's
and
about time they got around to
they're
that.
insane since then.
I saw it, a few weeks ago. It was like 8 of the top 10 like minutes trios,
I lost.
like
I
minutes played
lied.
together.
I forgot they lost to the Lakers, but
Still,
that was their only loss in the last like 10 games.
but it was like 8 of the top 10 minutes played together trios were different combinations of Knicks
This is
players.
the Knicks because
It was
that's all
like
they did.
Jalen
They don't.
Brunson, Josh Hart, and
Josh Hart was
OG.
definitely a part of
Jalen
every
Brunson,
single one of
OG,
those.
and
Mikhail,
Mikal Bridges. Jalen Brunson, OG, and Carl Anthony Towns. Like it was just like different combos of
Cat
them.
definitely wasn't in that top three. He's the
I
only one
forget who it
that
was,
does
but it
get
was just
rest.
like, yeah, it was just all these
Yeah,
combos of just Knicks guys.
yeah. Josh Hart, I think, has played the most minutes in the NBA this season. I mean, the
I
dude's
love that
insane.
man. Love that man.
I don't. I
Him,
think he's my favorite Nick. I really do. I wasn't expecting that. He's
I
awesome.
know. I mean, I loved him at Nova and just like the change in him, like being like the leader of Villanova of a national championship winning team, just like having that like level of composure all the time and everything like that to just like goofball holding like the goofball glue that just holds everything together in New York
I
is
mean, not only that.
insane.
This is my point with Josh Hart. He is like the most. He's very well rounded in this game. He plays great
Yeah,
defense.
he does
He
everything.
can score if he needs to, but he doesn't want to. He likes
He's
to
the
facilitate more.
he's the epitome of a Villanova guy.
Fair.
He's just doing everything, but he's just a dork about it too, which is like,
All right.
oh yeah, I forgot he went to Nova.
Yeah. All right. Let's move over to some sports that you guys came here to listen to. Sorry that that took up a half hour of our time. Not really.
I like the NBA.
Yeah. All right. So the biggest news in the NFL this week is even beyond the Super Bowl, well beyond the Super Bowl, is Myles Garrett officially requested a trade from the Cleveland Browns, which is fascinating for many reasons, especially for me and Asher, who don't want to see that man twice a year.
Makes my life better.
Makes my life so much better. Maybe I can like him a little bit better as a person if he leaves that team. Maybe.
I don't know. He took a helmet
He
to Mason Rudolph's head, and I'll forever love him for that. Honestly,
That's fair. That's fair. In the moment I didn't.
in the
Now I
moment,
don't
I was
care.
like, "Oh my god, that's insane!" And now every time I look back at that, I just kind of smile a little bit. And again, I think you and
Exactly.
I've talked about this. There's more and more stuff that comes out about Myles Garrett, and it's like
Yeah. Unless
Mason
it's
Rudolph definitely called him, you know what,
I mean,
in that
knowing what I
moment.
know about Mason, go for it. You want
It's
Big Ben next? I'll give you Big Ben too, buddy.
yeah,
I don't
line him
care.
up, line him up.
Line him, line him
Kenny
up.
Pickett next,
Hell yeah, dude. Just give me him.
Arthur Smith,
I'll keep
Matt
Fields.
Canada.
I'll keep Fields. If you want to hit the others, Russ, that's up to you. No, it's funny. But yeah, so my personal like, do I think he's gonna get traded? No. Do I want
Really?
him to get traded? The
You don't think
Browns
he will?
already kind of Browns came out and doubled down that they're not trading him. And so unless he like really forces their hand, which he definitely could. This could be an issue that goes well into the summer. It's something that would need to be done by, I don't know, third week of April, right before the draft.
I
It's
mean,
not a
that's when you're
draft
going to
day.
get
It's
the.
definitely not a draft day trade. It is a pre-draft day trade.
Yeah, I mean, it's makes me.
Jimmy
Did we get
Butler to
something?
the Warriors.
Why?
Why not?
They
So
were.
it's Jimmy
Everybody just said
Butler.
that wasn't happening.
Yeah, Jimmy JB for Wiggins, Schroeder, Kyle Anderson in a protected first.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on.
I mean, as a Warriors, Steph Curry fan, let's be real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool, dude.
I mean, sorry, Wiggins, you were going through some shit and you were in and out of the lineup, but like you were costing too much to be doing that. So bye.
Yeah.
It feels like kind of lateral move, but anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously I would like to see him get traded. I think it's good for football for him to be on a good team. Browns in his career have been good twice, made the playoffs twice. So I think for him that's beneficial. And I think he does want a fresh start. It's just whether or not Cleveland's gonna allow that to happen. Because if you trade Garrett, you're officially admitting like, hey, we're kind of kneeling out for the next few years, which reasonable. And if you do trade Garrett, you have the second pick in the draft to
Yeah.
potentially take one of the best edge rushers since Miles Garrett.
Yeah, you can just sign up for Abdul Carter and call it a day.
Oh my God, I don't want that. I don't want that. Oh, I don't want that.
I don't want that either, but like,
I don't want that. God, it's fine. Everything's fine. I'm not gonna think about it right now.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I have some places I would love to see him go.
yeah, I'm pulling up,
Is there an odds right now?
but I'm trying to find. So sorry, I was just trying to pull this up. So I do think he will get traded. Honestly, I rarely believe what
Owners.
owners and front offices say. I'm
Yeah,
more interested in what they
that's fair.
do, and honestly, it makes more sense. I mean, I guess that would be the argument why they won't trade him because it makes sense to trade him.
Oh, it makes so much sense to trade him.
Yeah,
It's
like
a major asset sitting on your team that you don't compete with him.
right.
So,
Yeah.
and he
And
wants
like if
out,
you have a
you can get
chance to get out of the Deshaun Watson contract, you can completely tear everything down and try to rebuild again.
because you can't even afford. Not only does Miles Garrett like he's on a semi cheap deal right now, but he wants a new deal. You can't afford to give the man $35 million a year because of
Right.
Deshaun. So you're kind of like stuck in a rock and a hard place right now. He's not waiting out his deal to get an extension.
Right.
He'd rather sit on the bench and not injure himself and still something
Exactly.
happen.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I do think he will get traded. I think there's a few NFC teams, like you and I talked about it. The Commanders make the most sense.
Commanders are my favorite. They are my favorite team in that. My favorite fit.
The only
I
thing with that
That would
is
be
like
awesome.
I'm trying to figure out what kind of package they would put together for that because
It's
they
for
don't
sure.
have
Do you
the
want a
only,
couple picks? It's definitely just you can probably do it for them specifically where they're drafting. I do their first this year and their first next year. Send it, done deal.
I mean, if
That
you're going to
I
do it
wouldn't
that way,
think
yeah,
twice.
I think that's worth it.
Now,
And if that's all it's going to take, because I'm just trying to think like, because the Commanders, they do obviously, they have a lot of holes on that defense
yeah,
and they don't have their fourth, but they have two sevenths. So they don't have any extra picks. You know what I mean?
yeah. But also though, I'd rather trade my first. You're not getting a
Yes.
caliber player at 29. I think that's where they're picking,
No,
as
you're
opposed
not.
to Miles Garrett.
What,
Even
28-year-old,
29
29-year old Miles
and
Garrett?
let's call it probably like pick 15 next year. Let's put that 15 and 29 next year isn't gonna elicit what Miles Garrett is right now.
Right.
I do that trade 9 times out of 9
Yeah.
and just call it a day.
Yeah, no, I do think that should be the favorite. Who else did we mention? Literally any of the NFC North outside of Detroit.
Minnesota would be fun, I think.
Minnesota would make a ton of sense. Green Bay would make a ton of sense. Chicago, I think, would honestly make some sense.
Yeah,
Him and Montez Sweat.
it's
Ooh.
just like how far can you push that? Because Chicago does have a lot of money invested already into their defense. I mean, granted, you still have some wiggle room considering Caleb's on a
I
rookie
mean, the
deal.
offense is so young and cheap.
Yeah, but in the same realm,
No, I
you
get that.
still have to play long term a little bit with that, and they're playing a dangerous line with Chicago's. Since Ryan Poles has been the GM, they've always played a dangerous line with money and bad contracts. God, DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, that was tough. Yeah, I'm looking now. As of 2 days ago, Cowboys were favorites.
If you want him and Micah, I guess if you expect Micah to
The
leave,
Commanders were second in those odds. Oh God, I hate these. So it was the Cowboys as the favorite, 4-1.
crazy.
Washington 5-1, Kansas City 6-1.
How? How? In what realm do they have the finance for that? Whatever.
I don't know. This
People
is
just
just,
love to spew random shit.
I'm not saying anything.
I
Yeah, this is weird because then it has the Raiders after that, the Niners. The Niners
shoot.
have
I did.
no
I did
money. The
hear.
Niners
I
don't
did
have
hear
money.
about, and they have to pay their quarterback. I did hear about Garrett and Max Crosby would be a nasty team.
Would be, but like, what are they going to do? Just be fantastic in Vegas
Yeah,
and go 4-13 every
13.
year?
I mean, you don't have a
Neither
quarterback, and
one of them
that's the
wants to do
problem.
that. Yeah,
It's just God. There's no winning, dude.
I think if the Falcons can pull it off financially, that makes a ton of sense.
Well, I guess it depends on if they can get off of Kirk.
Which I don't think they can really do this year. I would have to look at their payroll to see how much
It's
wiggle
it's
room they have with it.
it's pretty gross. I've looked at it.
Mm. It is, yeah, it's
Carolina,
not great. I mean, like,
Carolina would
because
be nasty.
I mean, if you think about the Falcons, outside of the Kirk Cousins deal, like some of their bigger contracts aren't really bad money. Like
Yeah,
Jesse Bates was a good signing. Judon's been solid, but like if you could upgrade, and I think they might be able to get out of the Judon contract anyway. I think that might be the one that they could get out of to try to make some room for Garrett.
somebody. Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, it's just a wild one. I don't know. I would love to see him come to Baltimore.
Yeah, I think that's never happening.
Justin Tucker and 6 picks.
Well,
Who says
he's
no?
just yeah. Well, I just don't think they're trading him in division. I
No, there's no
instantly rule
shot.
out in division trades.
There's no shot. There was
Um,
one that I saw. Hold on, let me
I
find
think
this one
New
here.
England would be really fun.
That would be wildly fun.
Yeah, I'd like that. I just don't think New England's trading a top 10 pick this year and then like a second next year. I just don't see that happening.
So this is
Maybe a
one
second burst next year.
just for the sake of it, just one that Kadri Ismail.
Okay.
He was on the Locked On Ravens podcast,
Okay.
and this was the package that he put together for the Ravens to go get Myles Garrett. And it was Myles Garrett for Mark Andrews, Kyle Van Noy, Odafe Owe, David Ojabo, Justin Tucker, a second-round pick, and a conditional third.
So the other rapist, your entire defensive line, or
Yes.
all your edge rushers essentially, and then
Yeah. And
what's the
a
condition?
second-round pick and an aging tight end.
Oh, I forgot about Mark Andrews, who everybody hates. Jesus Christ, dude.
And I was like, okay,
You're like,
please.
sure.
Yeah, I'll do that.
You idiot.
Yeah, did make me giggle a little bit.
Yeah.
Now like I said, I am in the camp of he is going to get moved, and I am very excited to see where to.
I hope he does. For the sake of my mental health and for the sake of football in general, I hope he does.
And I mean,
because
again, honestly, for him too, he deserves to be on a good team.
yeah. So there's this stance in life where I said earlier in this episode, sports are good when the big markets are bad. I mean, when the big markets are good. Sports are good when the big markets are good. Sports are even more fun when the shitty markets are awful, because then I can just choose to hate that team even.
Yeah, that's fair.
When the Browns are good,
Football's
it's not
better
fun.
when the Browns are a joke.
Yeah, that is the most factual thing ever.
Yes.
All right, so the other interesting football nugget here before we get into the last bit of the episode is that Cooper Kupp did not request a trade. Cooper Kupp was told he was going to be traded, and then he broke it to the world.
Yeah.
So that
Feels like a
is
nice little
interesting.
shot at the Rams to make it
Oh,
more
for
difficult
sure.
to move him.
Oh, but at this point, you have to move him one way or another.
Yeah,
He
no, I
cannot
mean,
be on that
everybody
team
knew
next
it
year.
was coming anyway. So,
So that's interesting. I mean, he's 32, kind of on a semi-expensive contract. I'd say it's not going to be a whole lot to trade for him. It's not going to cost you that much. Maybe probably like a fourth rounder.
yeah, that seems
LA's
about right.
LA's probably going to have to eat some of that signing bonus. It's $7.5 million due.
Yeah.
So They're going to have to eat like 5 of it, I'd say, in order to get that trade done. And of course, the team with the highest odds for Cooper Cup is the Steelers almost immediately after this was announced.
I was just going to say, I mean, congrats on the new Steeler Cooper Cup. He'll have him for 4.5 games.
I hate it. I hope, I'm sure it's not going to actually happen. I'm sure they'll probably do right. I hope they do right by Cooper Cup and they ask him, hey, realistically, where do you want to go? And they'll reach out to those teams because that is them doing right by him. Will that actually be the case? I don't know. I'd like to
Not
think
sure.
so.
So here we go. We got an older, injury-prone receiver that had stretches of just being insanely good.
To be fair, it was consistent, insanely good for 2 years injured. That's like been his career. Like
Which
record
totally fine.
breaking season.
I'm just saying, who does it sound like is going to get Cooper Cup?
Is it the
And just
Baltimore
continue
Ravens?
the run that they've had.
Is it the Baltimore Ravens? No, it's Kansas
Tennessee
City. I know that.
Titans. No,
Oh, the
Tennessee
Titans. Oh,
Titans. You go Julio Jones,
well, no, it goes
DeAndre
way before
Hopkins, Calvin
Julio.
Ridley. Yeah, it goes way
It
back.
was
Yeah, I mean,
Andre
this is just
Johnson.
forever. Yeah. I mean, those are just the last ones.
Didn't Torrey Holt play for them at the
Probably.
end of his
Tennessee just
career?
ends up with guys at the
You know,
end of
it's
their
just
career.
like they're like, all right, who was good 3 years ago? I want that guy. That's
I
where
will
they
pay
go
him
to.
$90 million and not think twice about it.
Exactly. Calvin Ridley was somehow the youngest of that group.
Yeah.
I forgot about Julio.
Yeah.
God.
Just insane. If we're going to stay true to trends here, Cooper Cup will be the next Tennessee Titan.
That would be hilarious. Truly
Yeah.
hilarious. I'm all for it. Not really. I don't. I want him to go to somewhere where
I
he
would
can
like to
find
see him,
success.
where he can just be
I
like
want
a
him to
number
have at
2
least
or a
like,
number 3 where you're not having to rely on him, keep him from getting hurt kind of thing.
yeah,
Somewhere you can
for
protect
sure.
him.
I don't know where that is.
I mean, Baltimore would work for that,
Ooh, it would be fun.
but where?
Buffalo.
Yeah, I just feel like you'd be putting too much on him, and then he'd be hurt by week 3.
Yeah. But also, I kind of
That's my
forgot they
thing.
have
It's like I feel like you
Amari,
have,
and like they're similar.
yeah.
They're very similar types.
I feel like it's got to be like I don't know. Let me think here. Like a
I just think Josh
Tampa
Allen,
almost,
maybe, but
like that kind of thing, or even
Chris
Atlanta
Godwin's a
again.
free agent, so
That's
it's just
true.
like
I'm trying to think of other teams. Houston with
Cincy.
Diggs coming off of the books. Cincy could make some sense.
Cincy would probably make the most sense.
I mean, Houston with Stephon Diggs coming off the books there. You have Nico. Tank Dell's going to be out for the majority of the year, so you could go Nico and Cup
Yeah.
for a little while because I think they still have cap room. They didn't use up all of what they had because that team is still really young too.
Yeah. I just think no matter where he goes, it's not going to really make sense. It'll be like
Washington again,
okay.
honestly.
Yeah, it'll be
If
like
they draft somebody, you go rookie Terry and Cup kind of thing and let the rookie learn from 2 insanely good route runners. And you learn Cooper Cup's footwork, but any other training he does, just don't do that because you'll get hurt all the time.
yeah. I don't know. It's going to be strange seeing him anywhere that's not LA. So
Yeah, it's going to be very weird.
yeah, whatever.
But I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, so am I. Hoping for the best. All right, guys. To get into the meat and the potatoes of tonight. NFL honors are officially tomorrow. I probably misspoke a little bit last week when we were doing our thing. I was a little delirious at that time.
That's true.
So we got a couple of awards that are being crowned, and we're going to talk about them and who we think is going to come away with those awards.
Yeah. So this is different than our predictions from the beginning of the year.
Yes. Some of our predictions are alive and quite possibly could happen. So we will see who makes it and who doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull up the nominees right now.
Yeah, I'm getting them all written down because I just didn't do that.
You're good.
Yeah, it is what it is, just because I'll forget. All right, well, while you're doing that, I feel like we can at least start with the MVP.
Yeah, I mean it's between two people.
Yeah. Um. Again, I know who I think should get it.
Who I think should and who I think will are two different things.
That's fair. The same.
I'm pretty much in agreement with you. I think Lamar is probably statistically more deserving. However, Josh Allen basically did it by himself, whereas Lamar did have a better cast around
Yeah,
him.
that's
That
fair. I
that's kind
mean,
of where like you separate.
and that again, that argument you can go both ways on too. Where it's just like,
Yeah,
well,
I
Lamar
get it.
had Derrick Henry, and it's just like, okay, well, Derrick Henry struggled the past few years until he got with Lamar and then rushed for 1,900 yards. Like, I mean, that argument I think goes both ways. I think they helped each other a lot, but
Yeah,
fine, whatever. I think it should be Lamar as well. I do feel like even despite the All Pro voting, it's going to end up going to Josh Allen just because
I think so.
it's almost, which is annoying because it's clearly a charity one this time.
Okay, I mean they did it last year with DPOI. It happens all the time. They
I
basically
know.
do charity ones. So
Still
if
makes me
they throw
mad. I'm
somebody
allowed to be upset about it.
for sure, but I would have rather they've somebody else would have won last year instead of Lamar, and then Lamar win this year. I would have,
Yeah, I mean, and last year,
yeah,
that's the bullshit with it because everybody's like, well, Lamar won it last year. It's just like, yeah, and honestly, it wasn't a great MVP class. Honestly, you could have made the argument Dak should have won it, I feel like.
yeah. And
But
if
then
Dak would have
Dak
won it, I
ended up
think the whole
being,
world
would
would
have
have
shut
burned to
down.
the ground.
It would have looked like golf this year.
Yeah, it was what? It was Dak, Purdy, and Lamar. Yeah,
Lamar.
you're not giving it. You're just not going to give it to those two guys. It's like Big Ben. He was always
Yeah,
kind of there, but not really.
right.
You're never going to give Big Ben an MVP.
No,
Same with Breeze. You're never giving Breeze an MVP.
I know, yeah. Yeah, that's the big thing. If Drew Brees doesn't get to win one with some of the seasons that he had, there's a lot of people that don't deserve MVPs, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
Offensive
we're
player.
kind of on the same.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say we're kind of on the same page with that. So let's talk about OPY. I think this one's pretty evident,
Yeah.
especially with how these playoffs has gone. It's
Even
Saquon.
though it is
It's
yeah.
I don't think it's that close.
No. So I'm very happy about that was my preseason one. Yeah.
Good for you.
Who do we get for finalists on Depoy?
Depoy's weird. So it's Zach Bond, Miles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, Patrick Surtain, and TJ
I feel like it's gonna be
Surtain.
no Hendrickson.
I think it's Surtain. I don't think.
I think
I think
Sertan
it's.
probably should get it, but
I think
the
Surtain does get it. I don't think anybody else is deserving of it. Like more than he is, just based on kind of statistics this year. No real defensive end really ran away with it like in past years. Like TJ last year had 20 sacks and didn't win. Like
that's fair.
Trey Hendrickson with 16, he's not going to win. TJ has 13 or whatever he has, he's not going to win. Garrett has 15, you're just not winning it with that this year. I
Yeah.
think it's more, if you ask me
Oh
who
shit.
I think probably should win, it should be Zach Bond. The dude kind of
He
had
just
this,
doesn't have
he had
the
this,
statistical stuff though.
but he does. It was for him playing a true inside Mike
That's fair.
linebacker for
Yeah.
what he kind of did as a whole. It's statistically kind of insane.
That's fair.
So, but
According
I do
to
believe that Surtain will win.
Sertan is the favorite right now, actually.
Yeah. What is it? Surtain, then TJ, then Hendrickson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair
And
enough.
then Garrett, then Bond. I know how it goes, and I know how it's going to go.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Now they might give TJ the nod for it just because this year, just because they didn't last year and they should have. It's
That's
just
fair. It's weird.
that's
Yeah.
just
Some of the stuff
again
that they do.
that's how they do it. So
Yeah.
and they
It's
take in
weird
those
too
the
because everybody gets just one
non-statistical
vote.
aspects.
It's not like a point thing.
Yeah, it's very odd. Like they vote for all five total. They'll go first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and then it's the most first place votes, and then second, then third,
Not in the
and like you'll
NFL.
see that. Yeah, they do that in the NFL.
Sure, because MVP votes, it's
Pretty.
just like you get a vote or you don't. Like everybody just votes on a person.
Yeah, yeah. yeah, you'll get a vote and then it'll rank them down, and then they'll still be like a separation between like fourth
Yeah.
and fifth.
No, I get what you're saying. Sorry, I misunderstood you. So, like, what I was referencing was like NBA, for example, and MLB does the same thing too. I'm not sure how the NHL does it, but like the NBA, when the voters put their ballots in, they put their like I forget if it's top three or top five,
Okay.
and where each voter puts them on their ballot, 1 through 5,
Oh, it's a point system.
it's a point system,
I see.
and
Yeah,
it's
no,
like
they don't do that.
it's vote
Yeah,
shares or like vote shares. You get a percentage of whatever
yeah, yeah.
that kind of thing,
It's
and
like
then it
five,
that
four, three, two.
right. Whereas the NFL, it's just like okay, like when the voters come in, they go, "This is my MVP. This is my offensive player of the year. This is my defensive player of the year, rookie, whatever, blah, blah, blah." And then it's just count up the votes. Whereas like
Yeah,
Colton Cowser, for example, in the for the AL Rookie of the Year voting, he got more first place, or what was it? How did it go? He was on all of the ballots, I think,
yeah,
and there's something else with it, but he came in second once the points got totaled up. Because yeah, I forget exactly how. I'd have to look it up again, but it was just like basically he won the popular vote, not the he didn't win the electoral college. Is basically what happened on that one.
yeah. Ooh, my hair. That's funny.
Yeah. So
That's funny.
there's that. Offensive rookie of the year. I don't know why we need to spend time on this. It's Jaden.
People really think, and I'm not doubting that there was for the first time in a long time there was a strong cast for offensive rookie of the year. Strong cast. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like there was this one guy and then there was a couple of nobodies. Not nobodies, but nobody who really was like relevant enough. It's been a few years since we've had that. Where it's like these all five of these guys were like impact players immediately. Like Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix both took their teams to the playoffs. Brock Bowers crushed Sam Laporta's rookie tight end numbers.
Yep. Finished top 10 in
Brian Thomas,
a lot of receiving categories.
BTJ, and Malik Neighbors both hit over 1,000 yards and almost had double-digit touchdowns in the year. It's just like statistical things that are
And
kind of
quite honestly,
anomalies.
statistically, Caleb looked really good on
Good.
paper this year. Like he had
Yeah,
a hell of a
yeah.
year. And
Really good
that's
on
I
paper.
mean, those are your
And
five
not even,
finalists.
yeah, and he probably isn't even the next name on this list. That's how good the rookies were this year.
Yeah, well, I mean your
And
finalists
Jaden,
are Jaden or well, I mean sorry. The odds,
the
at
odds,
least. I
yeah.
don't know if this is exactly it, but odds it's Jaden Daniels minus 1,000, Brock Bowers plus 3,000, Bo Nix
Yeah,
plus five
that's
thousand, and
how
then
not
Caleb and
close this is.
BTJ are just plus 50,000. Yeah, and Jaden was just insane all year long. So good for him.
So there's no way it's not him.
Yeah. Defensive rookie of the year.
Definitely, it's so. Whereas like offensive rookie of the year was so strong, this year defensive rookie of the year is not strong, and we kind of had a feeling that was going to be
It's a
the
lot
case
of
going into the
guys.
year. Yeah, just a lot of dudes, a lot of names, and that's how it kind of felt going into the year with how the draft class kind of like shaped out, with the first defensive player not going until pick 15 with Leatu Latu. Jared Verse, my pick, he is the favorite. I think he's going to win. He kind of really took ownership of that lead defensive line role that Aaron Donald left and kind of ran with it. And he's looked every bit of a superstar on that like defense that you want to see. And in the playoffs, he really showcased that. The entire defensive line showcased that. So I'm pretty excited to like see him and see Braden Fisk both make this list because everybody was worried about AD leaving and they kind of said, no, we're good, which is crazy to say that about a three-time defensive player of the year winner who
What,
still
eight out
had
of
he
nine
had
first team
years,
All
yeah,
Pros still?
he still had years left in his tank when he stepped away. It's not like he was coming off of like a bad, like multiple bad seasons. No, he could have kept playing for 3, 4 years. He just values himself as a person in a
Yeah.
different way.
Yeah, so I'm with you on that. Jared Verse was fantastic this year. I mean, again, you know, we said it's not that strong of like a defensive rookie class, but like when you look at the names, like I mean, they're all
Is
legitimate dudes. Like, I
is
mean,
is Quinion next on that list?
He's second odds.
So I'd
It's
say it's
Jared
probably
Verse,
then
Quinion, and
DeJean.
no, Chop Robinson then.
Really, I wouldn't have expected. I don't know really what he did this year. I wasn't following
DeJean
Miami defense.
is sixth
He's
in betting
sixth,
on in the
and he's not even
odds.
a final. He's a finalist. Who's fifth?
Tareeb Steele. Tareeb Still.
He's not even a finalist.
This is as
That doesn't
of
make sense, dude.
this is updated February 3rd.
Yeah, okay. So that's how little they believe in DeJean.
Fair
Interesting.
enough. Yeah, I don't know. But
All
again,
right.
DeJean very good. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
Jared
yeah,
Verse.
for
Jared
sure.
Verse is winning that. Comeback player of
Yeah.
the year. So this
This
one
is
got a little
interesting.
squirrely because there are people like banging the drum that it should be somebody that comes back from injury.
It's super squarely. So it should be Joe Burrow. But the fact that Darnold is on this
Mm-hmm.
list makes this interesting. And even more so that makes this interesting is Damar Hamlin's on this list.
Again?
Again, he's a finalist. So one of three things is going to happen. Joe Burrow is going to win it, deservingly so. Two, Sam Darnold is going to win it and create a question mark for what defines as a comeback. Or three, Damar Hamlin's going to win it because they did him dirty last year.
Right. It's going to be one of those three.
Christian
Even
Gonzalez and J.K. Dobbins, I'm sorry, you
So
have
I
no
will say the
chance.
betting odds reflect that, honestly. So Joe
Yeah.
Burrow is minus 4,000.
Oh my God.
But here's the thing. Sam Darnold is second. And he's only plus 230.
Interesting.
Like, there is...
So there is questions. Because if it was for sure like Joe Burrow, he would be plus like 2,000.
Yeah, the
So
only
they're
other one
worried.
that's... There's two other odds like that right now. MVP, Josh Allen is minus 300, Lamar plus 240, so that's a close one. And then defensive player of the year. So this, I went to a different site here that had all of them. But it was kind of close anyway compared to the first one I looked at. They have TJ Watt at minus 130 and Patrick Surtain at plus 150.
Interesting.
So, like, and outside of that, like, the next closest or next shortest odds for second place, or like that are second, is defensive rookie of the year with Quinion at plus 700. So basically, the
Crazy.
odds makers are like covering their tracks, like covering their bases on this one here.
Yeah.
With Darnold being plus 230. Actually, third on this is actually J.K. Dobbins at plus 750. And then DeMar Hamlin
Strange.
at
So they
plus
have no
10,000.
faith. They have plus 10,000. No faith.
Yeah, I don't
Which is
don't
good.
think Hamlin's getting it because he. Yeah, I don't know. That one feels a little weird, but
Yeah, it definitely feels a little weird. But
I feel like it's
yeah.
definitely down to Joe Burrow or Darnold there, and it comes down to interpretation.
Yeah.
So I hope it's Darnold.
You hope it's Darnold. I mean,
I
it'll
do.
definitely raise some concern with that award and what it means to come back from, whether it's a poor career or injury. I mean, I guess theoretically they did that last year with Flacco. What is it? What are you coming back from? So theoretically, they already opened up the door to a different interpretation of that award.
Yeah. I mean, that's, the NBA kind of gets away with that with the most improved thing.
Yeah, which is fair.
Because you're not just like giving somebody that's good another award.
Yeah.
Just because
and
they
I
got
guess
hurt the year before kind of thing.
maybe you either introduce that award or
I don't
change
hate that.
comeback to most improved. So I think that would do them a service. Right. Final
And
big
then,
award. There's some other interesting tidbits here, but it's not the final big award. The final big award's Walter Payton, NFL Man of the Year. But
what
that
am I
shit's
going to do? How am I
impossible.
going to, what am I
I
going
don't
to
know.
bet on
I
that?
can't deem who the best guy is. Shit, give me Deion Dawkins. I'll pick it.
Sure.
But it doesn't
Fine.
matter.
It usually goes to some like third string long snapper who just like
No,
ran a fundraiser.
it's typically a pretty decent name. Like Cam Hayward won last year. Russ
I
has
think
won
Dak
it.
got one too. Like,
Eli Manning won it. So like tends to go to like a semi larger name. But it's not every time. It also depends on like what kind of happened that year for you to get it.
yeah,
But Deion Dawkins would be a good winner. He's a good guy. So coach of the year. Get back on track here.
yeah.
It's It's between two guys. It's DC and KOC.
I think it's
Although
obvious who's winning it, though.
it's KOC, but man, I kind of want Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn deserves it.
Yeah, he did a hell of a job, but it's gonna be. I feel like it's almost assuredly gonna be Kevin.
What's the odds? Are there no odds on that one?
Kevin O'Connell's -1,000. Dan Campbell is +575.
So it's not a runaway, but definitely that's kind of the vibes. As long I'm okay with either of these guys taking it. So as long as it's not Sean Payton, go for it. I don't care.
Fair
I'm
enough.
such an ass. All right.
That's fair.
They have another award listed here that we never even considered, which is Assistant Coach of the Year, which is way more difficult. Is it so? On here, it's like Joe Brady, Brian Flores, Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, and Vic Fangio.
Wait, read those names again?
It's Joe Brady, OC for the Bills,
Yeah.
Brian Flores, Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, and Vic Fangio.
Cliff Kingsbury doesn't get that? Isn't a finalist.
It's not a finalist.
Wow.
Yeah, which, I mean, if I was a betting man, and I'm not, but if I was, I'd probably lean Flores on that group.
I would say either.
It's either him or Ben Johnson.
Honestly, I was going to say Fangio.
He did a great job at the end of the
A
year, and that
fantastic job. Well, I mean, you
matters.
look at like what the Eagles were as a pass defense last year. They were bottom third
Yeah.
in every category to being maybe, or I think the best pass defense this season.
Yeah.
Like, I think those two are the ones that you would look at there that I personally think should get that. Aaron Glenn, I think, has a really strong case too, just because of what he did with all the injuries on defense. I mean, obviously, I was doubting them all year. I was waiting for it to fall apart, and it just didn't until they got Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I mean, you kept doubting it, and I kept telling you not to doubt it, but whatever.
That is what it is. I don't know. I feel like I got the last laugh on that one.
Because they didn't make it to the Super Bowl.
And I said that I felt like that game could be close, and you yelled at me about that
Hey,
too.
well, I didn't suspect. I guess both the coordinators were out the door already.
That's
Maybe
fair.
that played a factor. I didn't really consider. And then 2025 Hall of Fame class gets announced tomorrow. It might be the most important thing of the night.
Oh yeah, wait, hold on. Can we try to figure that out? Actually, we didn't get the. Hold on,
I have the 15 finalists right here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I want to do that. I completely forgot about that too.
So it's Eric Allen. He was a cornerback from 98 to 2001. Jared Allen, which I'm sure you know who Jared Allen is.
Yeah.
Willie Anderson. Do you know who Willie Anderson is? Okay, beautiful. Jari Evans, Antonio Gates, Torrey Holt, Luke Kuechly, Eli, Steve Smith Sr., Terrell
Hold on,
Suggs.
pause. Holt,
Go for
Kuechly.
it.
Who's after
Eli,
Kuechly? Eli.
Steve Smith Sr., Big Sizzle, Terrell Suggs, Big
Oh,
Sizzle,
shit, yeah.
Fred
What
Taylor,
the fuck did you just say to me?
yeah, Adam Vinatieri, Reggie Wayne, Darren Woodson, and Marshall Yonda. So, I mean, honestly, you got a lot of ex-Ravens on this list.
Yeah, you said Marshall Yonda was on this,
He's the last one on there.
and then who was right before Yonda?
Darren Woodson.
Darren Woodson.
He's a
That's right.
safety.
Yeah, sorry, I was
Yeah, you're good.
trying to
I was
write.
going quick. All right, so you get five. I'm pretty sure it's five guys get in.
Okay, let me get
Jared
mine
Allen.
here.
Well, I
Wait,
guess
hold on.
let me go
Is
back.
this? I forget. Is this Vinny's first time on? Is this his first year of eligibility?
Who?
Vinatieri.
Yes.
That might change things. Does it say
To be fair,
in the list that
there's
you
only
have? The list that you have, does it say how many years each one of them has been on?
been on. No,
Like this, how many years they've had?
no. I mean, I can guess some of them, but like Torrey Holt, no, I can't. No, so it's Eric Allen, Willie Anderson, Torrey Holt, and Fred Taylor, and Darren Woodson, and Reggie Wayne. All are a little bit older.
Yeah, I know that.
Reggie Wayne's probably on year like 10. This is probably his final
He
year.
played longer. No, I think he's. Is it really that long
He
ago?
retired 2014. First year eligibility was 2020.
Yeah. Well, they don't like.
I guess it's year 6 then he's on.
They don't boot you off, do they?
No, but they can choose not to put you in as a finalist. So
Yeah,
like it
but
starts with
what
like
I'm saying,
40
yeah, yeah,
guys,
yeah, no,
45 guys, and they trim it down to 15 for the
right.
finale.
I know what you're saying, but like it's not like the MLB. If you don't get voted in 7 years or whatever, you just don't get it back on.
No, but they can choose to just constantly leave you off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's me processing.
Yeah.
I think I have
Like that's how a
three
guy like
here.
Darren Woodson gets on here. So there's immediately there's two guys that are on there, no questions in the Hall of Fame.
I think. Well, so my thing is with some of this is I think of these 15, there's more than just the five that will get in
Yes, yes.
eventually.
But you
I
also have to look
see a
at the
lot of them.
classes coming up. So they need to
No,
get
I
in by
understand.
like 2027 or else you're doomed. You're not getting
For
in.
you're just kind of get stuck in the cycle kind of thing. No, I agree with that. One thing here, real quick. I should have been more prepared with this. So the three that I have starred right now that I think get in,
Okay.
I have Antonio Gates, Torrey
Yes.
Holt, and Luke Kuechly.
I have Gates. If you're putting gun to my head, three guys to get in the Hall of Fame out of this list, it's Gates, Kuechly, Eli.
So
Immediate three.
I don't think Eli is going to be first ballot.
So
That's my thing. I
it is
think Eli
tough,
gets
regardless
in
of his
because
whole
because
statistics.
of the whole, yes. I think you look at Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning. Not only just because they were the same draft class, just because of all the similarities between them. And you can make strong arguments for both. But I think Eli ends up getting in. I don't think Phillip Rivers does because Eli has the two rings and he won them in New York. But I also don't think Eli's going to be first ballot.
I definitely don't see Holt getting in with this class.
Holt's been on for several years now, for a while now. And
And there's a reason he hasn't gotten in.
I think, no, I think some of it's inflated a little bit. The reasons that he's not.
Okay.
And you know what I mean?
Not particularly, but I mean I get it.
Yeah, because man, he only played from '99 to 2009.
Yeah. And he was a 7-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All Pro, 1-time Super Bowl champ.
Yeah, and I'm looking at.
Retired
I think this
as a
one's getting
Jet.
in there. Yeah, I just need one more after this. Yeah, I mean he's top 20 in everything and played less seasons than the majority of these guys on these lists. Like I said, I think
I don't know.
he'll be a guy that gets in because
So
of
here are
peak.
my here are my 5 picks.
Mm-hmm.
It's Gates, and just for the sake of this, and to not argue with you, I'll leave Eli off of it because I'm mixed on Eli.
That's fair.
But
Like I said, I agree that he
I
will
think
get in.
he's
I just don't
going.
think.
I think he's going to get in this year because
Fair
I
enough.
don't think he gets in next year. So
That's fair.
it's this year or not. I think it's Gates. I think it's Kuechly. I think it is Yonda. I think it is Jared Allen. And if I'm not picking Eli, I'll probably go with T Sizzle.
Really?
Suggs is going to get into the Hall of Fame.
I think is this his first year too?
This is his first year. I don't think he's a
I don't
first
think
ballot, but
he will.
there's nobody on this list I'd probably pick before him.
Well, I want to say too, because like the voters for this, they don't plan ahead and look at
No,
the incoming classes. You know
sometimes
what I mean?
sometimes you do. Sometimes.
Sometimes, but not enough. It has to be a pretty weak finalist class.
All right. Well, let me look at next year.
So right now, I have Gates, Holt, Kuechly, and I have Steve Smith.
Steve Smith's not getting in the Hall of Fame. He's not getting in.
He's top 10 in several categories.
I don't care. He's not a Hall of Fame wide receiver.
I don't know. I don't totally agree with that.
I'm not saying he
I
wasn't
think
good.
Marshall Yanda should get in quickly. I don't think he'll be first ballot.
I
He
know
was
offensive
an
linemen have
insane guard.
offensive
stronger
linemen
cases.
have struggled to get in, but I think Yonda was elite enough for a long period of time to be a first ballot offensive lineman.
I agree. I think he's earned it. I don't think that will happen. And I say Steve Smith because I feel like there's like a receiver kind of, I don't want to say revival, but like
Oh
people are
my
liking them
God.
more. What?
Yeah. I'm just looking at next year's class. If you don't get in this year, you're done.
Well, I mean, for next year at least.
So, well, listen to this. You have Marquise Pouncey. Thanks for the thumbs up. That's
That's
first
like the
ballot.
8th time that's happened.
Drew Brees, first ballot. Larry Fitzgerald, first ballot. Frank Gore and Jason Witten. I'm not even done. You have Geno Atkins, you have Steven Gostkowski, and you have LaShawn McCoy.
Gino probably not getting in. I don't know. He feels like a fringe guy to me.
And then further down, you have David DeCastro, Todd Gurley, Mike Iupati, Greg Olson, Philip Rivers, and Julian Edelman. After that, you're definitely not getting in, but holy shit. If
That's fair.
you don't get in this year, you're not getting in next year. You have 5 almost guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famers.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's
Can
tough.
I be torn on my last one?
Sure, but
I feel like it's going to be one of either Willie Anderson or Eric.
sure, if that's what you want. I
I
don't
feel
think
like they're
either
going to
of
give
them
it to
get
one of the
in.
guys that's kind of been on it for a while.
They never do.
I mean, occasionally it happens. And I
Occasionally,
feel
like
like this is a list that might happen. I don't know. I feel like if either one, I'd probably lean Eric Allen, but
I just don't see either of them getting in over a few of those other guys. But like I said, if you don't do it this year, you're probably not doing it next year. And then
that's fair.
the 2027 class is even tougher because you
Yeah, no, I
have,
mean, like, it does get tough
my
for sure.
God, you have AP, Sherm, Gronk, Big Ben, Andrew Whitworth,
Well, there's your 5 right there.
and I'm not even done. It's just insane.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, if anything, that could be the one that they make Eli wait for and make Ben wait a year, or make Whitworth wait a year kind of thing.
No, yeah, you're not making Ben wait a year.
I
I
can't
mean, you're
wait.
talking about a
Can't wait to
top.
hear his podcast when he does have to wait. That would be fucking amazing.
That would be
He'd handle that
hilarious,
about
dude.
as well as Terrell Owens did and go have his acceptance speech at Miami of Ohio.
I hate this is terrible to say as a Steelers fan. I just don't like Big Ben. I just don't.
He's a
Just
shit
don't like Big
dude.
Ben. Yeah,
No, I feel like it's not hard to not like him.
yeah. You know, it's even crazier if Antonio Brown didn't go off the deep end. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. And now you're like, he's probably never going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, wild. Absolutely wild to think about. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, the guys that I think will, from this list that I do think will get in, but I don't think they're going to be first ballot or, won't get in on this one. I think it's Eli Suggs, Reggie Wayne, Vinny, and
Reggie's not getting it.
Yonda. Yeah, I would
Reggie's
love to
not getting
see
it.
Vinny. Well, Reggie's like right on the cusp, I feel.
I put Steve Smith in well before Reggie.
I agree with that, but I'm just saying, like, Reggie's like right on that, like, they wouldn't shock me if he got in. But I would love to see Vinny get first ballot
Yeah.
nod there, but there's no way they're doing it.
The class right now for 2028 is Brady, JJ Watt, Matt Ryan,
Yeah.
and then it's AJ Green.
That
Not
could be
really.
a class that some of these guys sneak into, like Suggs.
Because
Yonda.
after Brady and Watt, like Matt Ryan has an argument, but he might not get in for a couple of years.
I mean, the big argument is, like, were you at any point in time considered, like, top 2 or 3 at your position?
Yeah, exactly. And then
And that's
in
my argument
2020,
with Eli is, like, Eli does not deserve to be a first ballot Hall of Fame.
I don't think so either. However, in recent days, from kind of what I've heard, there's a chance he gets in this year.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then 2029, it's Aaron Donald, Jason Kelsey, and Fletcher Cox.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's if Kelsey retires this year.
Jason Kelsey.
Or Jason Kelsey. Sorry, I misheard you there. What was I going to say to you? Yeah, because, like, what I look at right now is, like, Antonio Gates was probably the best tight end for 8 years.
Yeah, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Him and
Should
Kuechly are
be.
both
Well, he
locks
was on
this
it.
year.
Was he on the ballot last year, Antonio Gates? He had to.
No, no, this is his first year.
Are you sure?
No, yeah, you're right. He was on the ballot last year.
I was gonna say I thought he
My
was.
bad. I missed that.
And Luke Kuechly is maybe the best linebacker since Ray Lewis. I think there's an argument for that.
The best true like middle linebacker. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, you look at
you kind of
him,
have
Bobby
you got a
Wagner.
couple guys. Yeah, I was gonna say Wags. Wags is in there.
But you look at the last 15 years.
I guess it's just them two really. Like
Yeah. So like Kuechly should be first ballot.
I agree. I'm not
And
disagreeing with that. I
he's
was
got
trying to
a
think of
defensive
other
rookie of
good.
the year and a defensive player of the year too.
Yeah, Super Bowl appearance didn't win.
No,
So
but
I think I'd probably put Wagner just ahead of him, even though he doesn't have a depoy. He does have two Super Bowl rings, and he's played longer. His statistical, like he's like an anomaly.
I don't
Wagner,
know.
how
I
long
would have
he's
to
played.
look at them side by side there because like Luke Kuechly was different. Bobby Wagner may have been I don't have to look at that too. The surer tackler.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at what he did with Washington this year as a
Oh yeah.
35
Well, I
year
mean,
old
what was it like
linebacker.
4 or 5 years ago? He didn't miss a tackle.
Yeah,
Finished with like
he's
160 tackles or something
insane,
stupid like that. Yeah.
insane
I
for
just
what
think
he's done.
Kuechly was
So
just so
I'm not
physically
saying
gifted on top of
Kuechly
that
is
and
Kuechly's
wildly,
insane for
wildly
sure.
smart. Yeah.
I'm just saying if you're making me pick a linebacker in the last 15 years to have instead of Kuechly, I'd probably say Wagner.
I mean, if you
It's
have to pick
close.
between those two, there's no
It's
wrong
so
answers.
close. Yeah, it's so close. And there's
Right.
probably a guy we're forgetting who's also insane. Like Levante David, he's really good. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know if
mean,
he's
I feel
on
like
that level.
he's
He's
not as good
close,
as he
but I don't think
was.
he's there.
As good as he was,
And
he's not either one of those guys.
I wish Shazier never would have gotten hurt, just so I could have seen what he could have been.
Yeah.
Because I think we'd be talking about him in like a similar realm.
Yeah. No, I agree with that too. Yeah, he was
He
special.
was also he was different, dude. So,
Mm-hmm.
all
All
right,
right, I think
well,
that's all I
that's
got.
all we got. We got a interesting award NFL Honors tomorrow night,
Mm-hmm.
and then Super Bowl on Sunday. So tomorrow's episode, we're gonna cover the Super Bowl, and we got a couple other things that we're gonna go over in that one that we'll wait to talk about tomorrow.
Yeah. Sounds
All right,
good.
guys,
I got nothing else.
let's get
Let's
out
get
of
out of
here.
here.
See you tomorrow.